gospel, what came you out to see? In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. What came you out to see? Jesus asks of the people about going out to the edge of the field, to the edge of town, to see John the Baptist. He asks, did you come expecting to see a reed blowing in the wind? He asks rhetorically. The answer implied is no. And so he says, what then did you come out to see? A prophet? Yes. And much more than that. No one ever born is greater than John the Baptist. But I tell you, in the kingdom of heaven, anyone there is greater than he. What came you out to see? He asks them. And they don't reply because they don't know. They came to see Jesus Christ. I don't know about you, but I know about me. Generally speaking, I'm self-aware, except when I'm being an idiot. Then maybe you're the same. I have had times in my life when God doesn't seem to be there. I remember my first year at university, I thought I was going to become a priest. And I went to study theology at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. And I thought this will be great. I'd done Bible and theology since I was in 6th grade at the Little Episcopal Boys School. We had fun. This will be great. I'll learn great things with great people. I'll have a ball. Well, let me tell you, you think there's no light here in December. We would go off for an 8 o'clock lecture in pitch black. We'd have our morning coffee at 9 in pitch black. We'd leave our 3 o'clock lecture in pitch black, and we didn't see the sun until Wednesday afternoon, which we had off. I may have been sad in the seasonal affective disorder syndrome way, but I'll tell you what, the other people in my program were serious about being Christians. I mean, they were serious. Yes, it was cold, and they had those Bob Cratchit gloves so they could take notes with their pencils in these freezing rooms with these frozen professors. And I thought to myself, when all my friends were out doing history of art and learning about really exotic stuff from Italy, and I was there parsing out Greek. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I'm called to be a priest. I know I'm not called to do this. And I wondered. So I went to church. That's what I do. And I looked up at the altar. And all I saw was pictures. And all I smelled was mildew. And all I felt was nothing. Well, I quit the university, and I went to the place that was safe and wonderful for me, my old school in Delaware. And I went to go see my rowing coach. That was safe for me. And he said, well, what do you mean you quit? And I said, well, yeah, I'm really not sure I believe it. He said, oh, well, forget about that. Of course you do. He said, are you still going into the church? I said, I don't know. He said, well, I hope you do. This old guy who I now realize was my age then. This ancient guy, Ducky Washburn, whose children populated the rowing coaches positions all over New England. He said to me, Ian, I really hope you do go to Christ. Because I gotta tell you, this was 1985. The Episcopal Church needs a few varsity oars. Now, I didn't really know what he meant by that. But I saw God in him. I saw God in him reaching out to one of his boys who was, I can't say it now, but I was just like this. Tears are what come when logic fails. They're the soul's language. We cry when we're joyful. We cry when we're desolate. We cry when there's despair. There's nothing to hope for. And he helped me in his own New England Yankee rough way. What came you out to see today? I would venture to say, although you may not, that you came seeking Jesus Christ. What gets in our way of seeing Jesus Christ? For me, it was my preconceived notion of what God was. And I saw God incarnate in Ducky Washburn, of all unlikely people, because he cared for me and was kind. I see God in you. Whether you see him there or not, I see God at this altar, which is not just pictures to me, but icons and windows into eternity of the meal at Emmaus, that meal of resurrection which we share each Sunday, representative and reflective of the meal from that Last Supper. What came you out to see? You came out to see Jesus Christ. So let's see what we can do to strip away whatever might be blocking your vision. In Lent, we will call that sin. In today's collect, it's called that. Let's not get hung up on language, though. Sin, classically defined, is what separates us from God, what keeps us from God. And in our Advent themes of death, judgment, heaven and hell, I have news for you. And it's a secret as long as you promise you won't tell anyone, and you folks on Zoom, cut the feed. The way to get to heaven is this. You're already there, whether you know it or not. And the way to get to hell is the same way. The difference is, can you see God where you are, or can you not? Is your back turned to God, or is it turned facing Him? If you don't see God, what can turn you around? I'll offer you one more story. I'll probably talk more about myself in my first year here, so you can get to know me a little as I get to know you. But about 2 months ago, before I came here, in fact, before I knew I was coming here, I thought I might be coming here. But Denise had to wake me up for my Sunday nap to say the best we wanted to talk to me. And I didn't know that I was coming here. I was at the Holy Cross Monastery in West Park, New York, which is where I go intentionally to be in the wilderness, to be like those who followed John the Baptist, apart and away, and to be quiet and find God. And I didn't. And I was up at 3 in the morning, The coffee after compliment might have added to it. Mistake. And what was coming back to me was there was a person, let's call that person Bill. It wasn't Bill. Who had been horrible to me. I mean, this just objectively horrible. I didn't take it personally because Bill didn't know me, but for 3 years, Bill had done everything in his power to make my life at my then church miserable. And that really took the gloss off Sunday mornings. And Bill just wouldn't leave the church, which I guess is good for that Bill's relationship with the church. But boy, it made it unpleasant to be around Bill. And I couldn't get over the hope that I would leave and what I would say to Bill on the way out. You've had these, haven't you? These revenge fantasies. Boy, if I'm ever in the position to tell that guy, to really give it to her, this is what I would do. Okay, that's where I was at 3 a.m. Get me behind me, Satan. Jesus said to Peter when he told him, no, you will not die, you cannot die. Well, that was exactly what I was giving into, was the temptation not to forgive. And when I said very consciously and audibly in my cell, Lord, help me, I meant to go to sleep. The Lord had other ideas. And what came to my mind, I was in a Gethsemane sort of mood, was the words Jesus would say just a few hours later from the cross. Father, forgive them, for they have no idea what they're doing, is how it came to me in my mind. They have no idea what they're doing. And I thought, Bill has no idea what he's doing. These are the same words that St. Stephen used while they were stoning him. These are the same words which Louis XVI used from the scaffold. These are words which people who get forgiveness are able to do, not because the person's sorry, they rarely are, not because the person's right, from my perspective, they aren't, but because God calls us to forgive not as the other person deserves, but to forgive as we are forgiven. We say it every week, day in the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And I forgave Bill. I said, Bill, you've made my life lousy. I forgive you. I'm turning my back on you, dusting dust off my feet. And I'm turning toward God. I can see God in that cell. And I fell asleep at 3:01. I offer to you that we are not people of despair, though we frequently are there. We're not people of depression, though we're frequently there. We're people of joy and giving thanks. Today is Gaudete Sunday, from the introit, that beginning hymn in traditional services, which begins the service. Rejoice. We will have an essence of it as our anthem today, and I want to leave you with it because I think it's a recipe for turning our back on hell in this world, if you happen to be there, or if you aren't, living even more fully into a heavenly existence here in this world, and God willing, in the next, which is rejoice. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, we say rejoice. This is from Philippians 4. Let your softness be known unto all men. And the Lord is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in all prayer and supplication, let your petitions be made manifest unto God, giving thanks. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Amen. Rejoice in the Lord always. I don't know how to stop sinning. As the folks in 12-step say in the first step, I have no power over it. I don't know how to stop sinning. What I do know is to turn towards something good, which if I do it, will shove that sin I'm tempted toward right out of my life. And whatever ails you at the moment, I assure you, rejoice, rejoice will cure it. And so on this day, Sunday, I say to you, rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost.